history of psychiatric hospitals throughout the world is pretty bleak. Patients were often admitted for only minor reasons and would go on to spend the rest of their lives inside the hospital's walls. During the early days of mental health care, electroshock therapy and lobotomies were common practice and usually done without anaesthetic. It can't be much of a surprise for many of you then that many of the creepy abandoned hospitals around the world now have gone on to be hotspots for paranormal activity. Here we're going to take a look at 5 real haunted hospitals. Enjoy! Number 5. Penhurst State School and Hospital, Pennsylvania. Penhurst State School and Hospital was built in 1908 as a state school for the physically and mentally disabled. It was extremely big and housed more than 10,000 students at a time. However, the facility very quickly gained a bad reputation after several residents came forward with reports of neglect and abuse. The building was subsequently shut down in 1986, and everything in it was left behind, including medical equipment and patients' belongings. Paranormal activity has been reported from the abandoned hospital, including strange footsteps when no one's there, voices, and items being hurled across the room. Number 4. Poveglia Island, Italy. Poveglia Island is unique in that the soil is equal parts dirt and human remains. It has a long history with death and dying in Italy. During the bubonic plague in the 14th century, the infected were shipped to the small island between Venice and Lido to live out the rest of their miserable days. From that time on, any time a mass infection came around, the dead and half-dead alike were dumped there to smoulder in mass graves. And if that was not enough, a mental hospital was erected on the island in the 1920s. Many people now say the island is plagued by angry, restless ghosts, including that of a doctor who by suicide or murder fell to his death from the bell tower. To this day, many Italian fishing boats avoid the island in fear that it could curse them. Number 3. Taunton State Hospital. Operating from 1854 to 1975, the Taunton State Hospital was originally known as the State Lunatic Hospital at Taunton. While it was open, Taunton was home to some pretty well-known criminals. Jane Topan was a nurse who was sent there after experimenting on her patients with morphine and atropine. She would send them to the brink of death with one injection and back to life with another, until she got tired of it and finally killed her victim. Lizzie Borden also spent time inside the walls of Taunton. During the 1920s, residents reported witnessing a group of doctors bringing patients down into the basement. It's reported that those patients would never be seen again. Number 2. Coon Memorial Hospital, Mississippi. Coon Memorial Hospital was opened in 1980 in response to a smallpox outbreak. It later tended to Civil War soldiers and lost several staff members during the yellow fever outbreak in 1878. The hospital remained open until 1989. It was boarded up by the 1990s, but several paranormal investigation teams have made it inside. There have been reports of full-body apparitions and shadow figures creeping through the halls. During an investigation in 2015, a team of paranormal investigators discovered the dead body of a missing woman inside Coon. She appeared to have been murdered and left there. Number 1. Alton Mental Health Hospital, Illinois. The Alton Mental Health Center is still operational and not open for paranormal investigations, but some creepy stories have made their way to the outside world. The hospital, which is a series of buildings connected by tunnels, opened in 1916. Patients were subjected to lobotomies and electroshock therapy. Today, many patients and staff report hearing voices throughout the hospital and in the tunnels. Many times, nurses working in secluded parts of the building can hear a man ask, "Who's that?" When they respond, they are shocked to see that nobody is there.